ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ordinary Shire meeting on the 26th of February 2026. The Warren Shire Council acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands within the Warren Shire and acknowledges the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who reside within these shires. General Manager, can I call for any apologies, please?
Two apologies, Mr Mayor. Councillor Cleesby and Councillor Houston.
Could I call for motion? Thank you, Councillor McCloskey, Councillor Kinsey. Thank you. We'll put that. All those in favour. Thank you. Item 4, the confirmation of the minutes of the Thursday 22nd, 26th council meeting. To start discussion, thank you, Councillor Certainty. Seconder, Councillor McKay, thank you. Is there any items that need to be discussed from that? Nothing's jumping out at anybody, so I'll put that. Councillors, all those in favour that we confirm those minutes. Thank you very much. Item 5 is disclosure of interest. I understand we have one disclosure of interest. Councillor Derrett has a matter that she disclosed a pecuniary interest in later on.
Managed Health and Development Services report, item 1.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, development application approvals, item 1 of the reports of the Management Health and Development Services. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. As we are doing now under the current code of practice, I am moving a mayoral minute that we will discuss. So I'm moving that. Somebody will second that so we can get that. Councillor McCloskey, thank you. In front of you, councillors, is general matters concerning Warren Shire. The information be received and noted. The purpose of this is to inform you and the people of the Warren Shire of various matters happening around the Shire. I will preempt that this today at 10 a.m. we're having a small morning tea function to farewell a long-time employee, Jill Murray. Jill's been working with us for 42 years and we'll be formally presenting to her at morning tea time a gift and wishing her the best for her retirement. She actually retires tomorrow, and those that are interested, councillors, there is a drinks and at the RSL tomorrow night for those that are interested to wish Jill farewell. Item 1, the one on your list there, ladies and gentlemen, is law and order issues that have been raising their head in the last month or so. General Manager and myself have had a number of written correspondence and meetings with residents and residents groups in the last week or so. We've also had meeting and brought together a local sergeant and one of those residents groups that were a little bit concerned. We have formalised, I think is the right word, a meeting regularly with Sergeant Shane, and we we appreciate the frustration sometimes that our local force has. We are currently fully staffed. We probably, there is a possibility of losing one in the next fortnight, but at the moment we are fully staffed, and I'm sure residents that everybody is in the police force and the council are trying to mitigate some of the problems we've had in town last week. If there's anyone like to discuss anything or bring anything up, realising that we're in the public domain, I welcome comments, but be assured that myself and General Manager are actively trying to help and communicate with the police force. Moving on to 2, if there's no discussions, sorry, Councillor Sir.
If I can. Back in the days, we used to have that meeting that the police would come and give us, like outside of council, they would come and give us, I think it was called PAC or something like that. That doesn't exist anymore, does it?
Does, Mr. Mayor. Community precinct, that's with the police force above our sergeant, meaning the area commander is that's still trying to be arranged.
Okay, thank you.
We, General Manager and I thought that a regular discussion with Sergeant Shane would be good, and he obliged that, and that those regular meetings will start next Wednesday.
And as long as that information is fed back out to the community, you'll probably go a long way.
That's what we're doing now. Thank you. EV charging stations at Nevertire look like the grant application's gone in, and they've been fairly positive. The planning of that will incorporate our possible planning that we're going to do at Nevertire as far as the car parking and stuff there. Break-in councillors, Councillor Kinsey.
Do we have any idea of how powerful that charging station will be and how many of them will be there?
The highest level, and anywhere between, I'd suggest 2 to 4. It's actually kind of a black spot for that type of facility. Just on for that type of highway travel. It's in, of course, it's in the larger facility providers are the ones that come along and try to take advantage of that. Yeah.
Sorry. Council, so is it is it being put on council land, or is it a private enterprise?
It will be.
I'd say it's similar to the ones we have here.
Yeah.
Same sort of program.
Yeah, I'll call it the Nevertire truck parking area. So
Divisional Manager Engineering has done a basic plan for where we need to go, so we fit that within the plan that we're hoping to get grants for.
And that's in the area opposite the hotel.
Exactly, land that we own across the road from. We had a very successful Australia Day awards ceremony. I congratulate publicly all those that helped to organise that, and the list of Citizen of the Year, Nettie Slade, Young Citizen of the Year, Charlie Gale, Community Service, the Warren Hospital Auxiliary, Community Events of the Year, the St Mary's Parish School Garden Day, Young Achiever of the Year is Hayley Hall, Sportsperson or Organisation Matt Murphy, Young Sportsperson or Organisation joint winners from Drew Barnett and Emma wise. And Business Houses of the Year was awarded to Western Mowers and Pumps. It was highly competed for, and the standard, especially with the young people's sport, is for the size of our town is unbelievable. Housing, Warranshire Council, Affordable Housing Opportunity Housing Plus. There is a new grant, new round of Housing Plus grants coming out of the federal government, and we're actively trying to be on the list this time, especially seeing the last list, no one west of Mudgee got on it. So we're actively trying to do that. As well as that, in the next weeks, there'll be a small delegation going to Gilgandra to investigate individual housing unit type things and where we as a community might go. Number 5, the submission to the Federal Parliament inquiry into local government sustainability. Councillors, you're all aware of how we're funded. We're funded with rates, we're funded with bags grants from the feds, and then everything else is on individual grants. The federal bags grants are, have been reducing over time in real figures, and both the country mayors and local governments, New South Wales, LG have been fighting for the bags grants to be increased. It is. We put a submission into that into our sustainability and the cost shifting from government that's put onto us. There was a lot of work into that. Number 6 is.
So, Mr. Mayor, can I make a comment on that?
Yes, you may.
I have read that a couple of times. I'd like to congratulate the council, particularly the general manager and the manager for finance. That was a cracking response, and I think that it holds a lot of weight. It was well written. I think it's the message that we want to send. So, thank you to the council for writing that and putting that submission. Is pretty good.
Thanks, Councillor Broad. Yeah, and the same with the next one. There is a lot of effort put into these things, and there's a lot of behind-the-scenes lobbying that goes into that, and the time needed from myself, general manager, and staff can't be discounted in what we do there. The next one is submission into the inquiry into government service standards, or what happens in the bush compared to, shall I say, the city. I seem to pick on the northern beaches of Sydney or Bondi a bit, but generally what our community has to put up with compared to city communities. There is a submission done to that by our staff. That if anyone's interested in reading those or getting a hard copy, you're quite welcome. The next one's probably reasonably important, or more as important as any. Our quarterly budget statement framework council workshop the other day. There's been changes in the way that our finances need to be reported to you as a board and a council. Thank you to the councillors that came in there, and thank you for our divisional manager for leading us through that. Those councillors that that weren't able to come or need some more clarification, quite welcome to come to us. Tomorrow, tomorrow is a reasonably big day. We have an Alliance of Council, our Alliance of Councils group meeting here tomorrow. And one of the presentations to them is from the Murray-Darling Authority to the Alliance re the new Murray-Darling Basin Review. And then on the 16th of March, they'll be here again in more a community-based thing to meet anyone which is in the afternoon of the 16th of March. And out of that, anybody personally, council will do a submission to the Basin Review. I think that should be on everybody's minds. If you've got time, please go and read the Basin Review the document and get yourself familiar with all that. This first Basin Review and buybacks affected our community to a big degree, and this one we need to make sure that our input to the Basin Review is heard loudly. You're probably aware that General Manager and myself were seconded to the Western Region Local Water and Utilities Council Reference Group, which is about half the title. We've had two gets together. Where this is going is trying to do a strategic study over council water utilities in regional and western New South Wales, which includes most of our alliance, plus towns like Hayes and Eloquent, Moree, Narrabri. Anyhow, western New South Wales, reasonably small local councils. What's come from it is somewhat bureaucratic, but Director Engineering Services is involved now in what they call a gap analysis of a regulatory framework. This was a little bit disappointing and non-practical. Some of our alliance GMs and mayors, including myself, were very frustrated with this outcome. So the process is now stalled until this gap analysis is done, which will entail work from our staff, but we can see in our local area with other councillors and ours that water facilities are ageing. It's unsustainable to charge full recovery from water and sewer in the long term and the long term planning. So councillors, bear with us, and we'll watch this space, and I'll report to you more as we get closer to this gap analysis being finished. You want to make any comments, gentlemen? These items are basically what General Manager and I I've been doing in the last 30 odd days, amongst others. But I'll put that information be received and noted. So all those in favour? Thank you, Councillor.
You need a second for that?
No,
Done. Councillors, item 7, reports to committees. The first one of these is the meeting of the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee held on Tuesday the 3rd of February. Looking for a motion. Thank you, Councillor Derrick. Seconder, please. Please, Councillor Kinsey. Councillor Derrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Unfortunately, I was an apology to this meeting. I am, however, happy to move to recommendations. If there's any further information required or questions, I might ask the Divisional Manager of Finance Administration to assist with those. Thank you.
General Manager of Finance.
just a quick go through. It's not. I'm sure it's not related to the deputy mayor being missing, but it was our shortest meeting we've had. It was about an hour and a half long, and she acknowledges that. But it's sometimes it can be frustrating if it goes for 3 or 4 hours, which some of them have been. We're trying to provide as much information without doing. Meaning providing very similar reports to what you got, the council gets to try to reduce the workload. We do have 3 positive voting members who are attempting to make sure that it's an audit, risk and improvement committee. And they're providing slowly starting to provide advice on areas, directions to go, some areas for improvement. Certainly, risk is a priority to them. One of the problems is that, of course, we're all wanting to improve. We're trying our hardest audit-wise, but risk is an area that the whole organisation is still learning about. For the last decade, it's slowly been learning about and attempting to use. Project management-wise, reasonably there, but it is one of the burdens and increased workload that we're trying to work through. Financially, most of the information the committee is extremely happy with. They know that there's a good relationship between the external auditors and audit office and us. We're still developing a relationship with our contract internal auditor. And I think by about June, there's about three internal audit reports will be going to the committee, we hope. Fraud and risk, fraud and corruption, civil construction, and work health and safety. So they were the first 3 priorities that even our management executive felt that we should make sure we do a check. That will add some work that we will do to try to improve, and that's the idea of the whole process. We hope that eventually we will start getting a return of some help by the committee members who are pretty experienced in this area.
Thank you, Manager. So no further discussion or questions, I'll put that, all those in favour, councillors. Thank you very much. On the reports of committees, our second one is the Showground Racecourse Committee, held on the 3rd of February. Looking for a mover. Thank you, Councillor Brewer. Seconded Councillor Kelly. Councillor Brewer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I chaired the meeting in place of Councillor Cleesby. The meeting went quite well. They can be interesting meetings when there's axes to grind and things like that. It's a meeting where we open it up to members of the public who are stakeholders in not only the racecourse but the facilities out there. So I think everyone will agree it's an unbelievable facility, and we're really at the sharp end now of improvements and those sorts of things. So the two real outcomes from this were some discussion about access through that gate for events, giving pins to allow day access for a group of people who would have the same pin, things like that. So we're working through that process to communicate back to those groups when they have a large gathering out there, rather than issue 45 different pins. We're working through a way that will work for everyone. There were some issues about the gate blocking and not closing properly. They're also being investigated. And there was also some discussion about repairs to day stables and other facilities out there as well as the next round. We have a standing wish list that the user groups can suggest for improvement, so everyone sort of gets some level of focus when funding's available. That's always progressed further, but I've got to say it was a good meeting, and everyone was quite well behaved, I guess, and which is not always the case. It's a very interesting committee, but it's good fun, and it's a great facility, and we really are improving as we go. So I'm happy to take any questions, but it was fairly benign, really.
Councillor Gay.
The National Polocross Championships, I see it's still on here. Is that still?
Council's position is to assist where required. In principle, Council supports that polo cross event without any of the organisation to do so. So there was some short discussion on that, and we're basically leaving it in the hands of the polo cross the stakeholders and that group to progress if they can, and with Council watching in the background to support where possible.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Costa.
Thank you, Chair. Just in light of that, does that mean it's still potentially going to happen and it's not dead in the water per se?
Look, I think there's less of a chance now than there was. I think some members have lost their mojo on it a little bit. It's a massive, massive undertaking, and every day that passes makes it less and less likely because of the size of the undertaking that it is. There would have to be it's got to be a project to be managed, really, and it doesn't seem to me personally that there is if you don't mind the expression, the horsepower and the desire to get that across the line. It's huge. It would be great for Warren, no doubt, but there's an enormous amount of work to do before it even starts.
Thank you, Councillor. I'd just back up to Councillor Brewer's comments. There's 11 different user groups out there that need to be encouraged to have the work together, and I think that's becoming apparent that's happening, and we have an amazing facility, so the more we need to use this facility more, and possibly pick out a square for that. But thank you, Councillor. I'm going to put that. All those in favour? Thank you, councillors. The third report committees is the meeting of the Economic Development and Promotions Committee held on 4th February. Looking for a mover and a seconder for that. Councillor Surdity, Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, just moving the recommendation unless anyone's got any answer. I think it's over.
Any comment, questions? No, nothing. General Manager, your comment?
One of the major things, Mr. Mayor, is from that committee's action checklist comes the economic development promotions for the future for budgets. So from page two onwards, into page 4 is the big wish list. Next to that are about seven or eight priorities that are marked priority. So we'll see how we go funding wise for 26, 27.
Questions, council? I'll put that received and noted. All those in favour? Thank you. The next one is the meeting on the 9th of February of the Public Arts Committee. Looking for a movement and a second for that, please. Councillor Surdity, Councillor Jackson. Councillor Surdity.
Moving the recommendation and also the master plan, which is those minor adjustments. Thank you.
Councillors, any comments on the report?
So, Mr. Mayor, the main thing that has come out of this committee this month is just the committee's recommending that the Warren-Shire Council Public Arts Master Plan be adopted. The minor amendments were some minor tidy-ups of words and through the whole document, just tidying up new photographs, refreshing photographs, adding in public art that had happened in the last 3 or 4 years since the master plan had been adopted. It just sets the trend of public arts, and we all remember public arts is not just visual. It's absolutely every part of public art, from music to physical public art. This is coming from an engineer is a bit hard. That's why we've got a very exceptional committee of artists, and we hope again a nice long list of things for the future are in the document. Again, a lot of them, almost 100%, are just waiting on grants, and we look for opportunities all the time.
Thank you, gentlemen. If there's no further comment, I'll put that all in favour. Thank you, councillors. The next one is the Local Emergency Management Committee, held on the 10th of February. Looking for a mover and a second for this one. I realise Councillor Derrick, Councillor Kinsey, Councillor Derrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Happy to move the recommendation.
General Manager or Director, have you got any comments about it, please?
Mr. Mayor, it was a very quick meeting and fairly quiet. The only thing that came out of it was that our regional emergency management officer resigned, so we have a new one. Mr. Matthew Apps is the new Remo. The only other thing was about the Nevataya storm. The Nevataya community did a working bee on a Saturday on a weekend, and council assisted with getting the debris to the teams.
Thank you. Councillor Surrey.
Can I just add to that a big thank you to Sylvester for organising the truck to come out and collect all the rubbish. It looks like a different town. The feeling has gone up, which is really nice to see. Just the one query that I did have, that big pile of wood, is that still going to be burned by the... It is, that's all. As long as you make sure you stand between my house and the worst is over. Thank you.
Hopefully, Councillor Surrey, the Navitas had their fair share of disasters for a while. We don't need any more. And my feedback was from the community was that the council did nearly everything that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, sorry, Councillor Kinsey.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just one thing that did occur, rightly so, I presume, is we weren't allowed to put solar panels busted on the side to be picked up. And it occurred to me, well, what do the residents do with these things when they're no longer of any use? What's the policy on that?
I'm very pleased to say that on their trip to Dubbo, they've actually got a facility to take them at their very large waste facility. At the moment, I'd be loath to. I'm sure some of them come in and we don't know. We do have asbestos management procedures, but it's something that is a moving feast for us. I went for a tour of the large facility, and Dubbo Regional Council have set up almost a recycling facility for them at their facility. And I believe at a small cost.
Yes, Kinsey.
So that means that anybody from our shire's just got to take that stuff to there.
At the moment, I'm loath to say that yes.
I think it's this is recycling of solar panels is in its infancy, and the state government's getting it's a moving feast. I think that's pretty good. At this stage, we can't take them in the tip.
Well, most of them, Mr. Mayor, probably come in and we don't know. But if someone said, I've got 30 large panels, I want to come in, we direct them to a larger facility that's got a recycling setup.
Councillor Cox.
Yeah, just in light of that, given that they need to be taken to Dubbo, for them to come to Warren, say potentially in the future, would we need to be certified, registered as a receival point for?
I don't know, Mr. Mayor.
We don't know.
Yeah.
As I said, it's in its infancy, and we don't know. Councillor Kinsey.
I just wonder if it should suggest that we make a decision about this in the future, or when we get some information from the authorities.
Yes.
Thank you.
This will come to the Waste Disposal Committee when more information is known.
Thank you.
Councillor Surrey.
Just one query. I did check with a lot of the residents at Nevertar, most of them seem to be insured by NRMA, which is a good sign. But the part of their policy was their claim was that stuff was going to be removed by them, the same as the asbestos, because it has to have special handling.
That's normal.
So I'm assuming if that's still part of their policy, wouldn't the insurance companies know to take it down to Narromine?
They would. Their contract.
So it shouldn't be anything extra to the residents to have to worry about it. It should be part of the clean-up process to take it down there. It's a case of wait and see, I suppose.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other comments? If not, I'll put that all in favour, Councillor. Thank you. Wednesday, the 11th of February, was the meeting of the Warren Airport Operations Committee. Looking for a mover and a second for that, Councillor McCloskey. Seconded Councillor Kelly. Councillor McCloskey.
Through the chair, we had a meeting on the 11th. a few issues were raised with respect to the airport, namely the condition of the dirt runway, which is runway 0321, the roughness and the material that's there on the surface. So that's going to be investigated how to best alleviate the problem, because the loose material is detrimental to the leading edges of props when planes land. Councillor McKay might be familiar with that. So that's an area of concern. The kangaroo problem out there at the moment seems to have abated somewhat, given holes in the fence have been fixed. There's been some correspondence with Labra with regard to their roo management on the other side of the fence, so that's quietened down. The trees that were poisoned have slowly died but not died, so they're probably going to need a little bit more attention. And then for future works, the priority list of approximately 10 items has been prioritised down to 3 for consideration, given grant funding or budgetary money being available in the future to undertake the works. So, but in all, I think it was a good meeting. I think the airport is functioning well, and the mayor can attest to the amount of use, given he lives adjacent to it and sees plenty of planes coming and going. So I think it's very positive meeting. Yeah.
Councillors, any other comments? General Manager, if not, I'll put that all those in favour. Thank you, councillors. On the 16th, Monday the 16th of February, was the Sporting Facilities Committee meeting. For a mover and seconder, Councillor McCloskey again, please. Councillor McKay. Councillor McCloskey.
Yeah, through the chair again, we had a Sporting Facilities Committee meeting on the 16th. There wasn't a lot happening in that space, but a few things to come to light. We've had an issue with the lights at Victoria Oval back here some time ago, not knowing exactly the cause, but we lost the lights. But now we have them principally 70% of them up and running, but there's not concerns, but thoughts that maybe there was a lightning strike or a storm event that caused the lights to fail. But that's been investigated. We spoke about the transition of the cricket pitch or cricket happening in 26-27 to Carter Oval precinct based on the pitch down there being ready. So hopefully come September this year that we'll be able to transition from Victoria Oval to Carter Oval and then have the removal of the old pitch from Victoria, but that will be dependent on the pitch being ready for the next season. Other than that, no, not a lot.
Councillors, questions, comments? Councillor Jackson.
Mr. Mayor, I know it wasn't discussed at the meeting, but I was just wondering if there's any update as to our tenant, the Far Western Academy of Sport. How long they're going to be staying, and is there going to be any other providers at this point coming in running programs?
This is still in flux. There was a number of applications for the taking over the Far West Academy of Sport. Information that came to me yesterday, and I can't confirm this in writing, but the information was that has been put in the too hard basket and will remain as it is. That was pretty disappointing to a couple of people that applied, and councillor, I can only say watch this space. Any other questions, comments? Thank you, councillors. I'll formally put that. All those in favour? Thank you so much. Continuing with item 7, our next meeting was the Mannix meeting on Tuesday the 17th of February. Looking for a mover and seconder, Councillor Surdity and Councillor McKay. Councillor Surdity.
Holding the recommendation, please. Thank you.
General Manager, you wish to comment on management?
Part of the two recommendations there, Mr. Mayor, apart from information received and noted, is some general tidy-ups of that are actually also contained within the quarterly business review statement of the Divisional Manager of Finance Administration, which is we've been successful with a $1.26 million grant for some work on the Wombiana Road under the Black Spot program. And the Divisional Manager Engineering Services is working on spending about $100,000 of this year, and that's why it's put in the budget, and that's mostly investigations and design, and a general tidy up of a $42,000 cost, which was the final payment of for the contractor for the facility, the kiosk and budget facility from last year. That monies were put into the infrastructure reserve. It's just coming out of it to pay for it. And that's why it says appropriate arrangements be made to finalise and put it in the December 25 quarterly review, which the Divisional Manager is reporting on further in the report. Through the other one, of course, is a battery recycling bin we're getting for free. The types of, just so you know, that it's a free service. It's being set up. We find that libraries are good locations to actually have these special bins, which I believe will be fireproof and set up properly, so we don't lose our library. And it's really mobile phones, e-bikes, scooter batteries, which we probably need to get rid of all of them. Power tool batteries, the little button cell batteries, the small removable lithium-ion batteries and ion batteries, instead of going to rubbish tips and then crushed and then probably burning down garbage facilities or garbage trucks in these special bins. And the library's a pretty good place to collect them. And across the state, a lot of libraries are taking this free service up.
Thank you, General Manager. Any other? Councillor Sodity?
Just on page 2 of the annex and the priority matters, the very last one, the UMR waste depot recycling for Warren, Nevertar and Collide, is that also including the possibility of putting up the curbside bins, like the yellow and the green?
That's what it is, yes. And so the UMR waste depot will be getting further reports, including we're working on hopefully the next 2 or 3 weeks, certainly at least 2, maybe 3rd or 4th week away, of getting a recycling survey all up and done and out. We'll have an initial UMR waste depot to talk about the matters in March, and then another one in April in preparation for hopefully some results coming back, recycling survey, in preparation for a budget preparation for 26-27 in April.
This is all part of that EPA thing that we haven't been done by a certain time, isn't it?
No, that's FOGO. Food and organic. This is we'll call it a yellow bin lid recycling. All part of what was resolved 2 years ago to consider doing it again and seeing how the community feels again.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Councillor? If not, I'll move that. All those in favour? Thank you, Councillor. We move on to item 8, reports of delegates. The meeting of the Town Improvement Committee, Wednesday, the 8th of February. Councillor Derrick, seconded Councillor Kelly. Councillor Derrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess I can't miss this one. I guess there's only one report to consider, but it was quite an important one, being proposed improvement projects and programs. So we did finalise a list, but I guess the point being it's not necessarily exhaustive, but for 26-27 there is a list of wish list items, and I would just to reassure that some items left over from 25-26 have been rolled over into 26-27 list. Noting that there are a couple that are partially completed, such as the shade structure over the seating at Splash Park. So anything that was on the 25-26 list outstanding has been included. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other comments? Councillor Surdity?
Just an observation with the really hot weather that we've had. When you walk up the steps into the library and also the handrails, you need to have heavy gloves on it because they burn their arms off. It's shocking. Is there a possible temporary solution that you could put on just to, because the elderly hold those rails to go up into the library and they're red hot in the summertime? Is there a possibility of just a temporary thing?
I'm not aware of an engineering solution, Councillor, but we might look at that.
It could go on the list. Thank you.
We, the town did survive that week of 46s reasonably well. But, yeah, it was a challenge.
Certainly was.
Any other comments, questions? So I'll formally put that. All those in favour? Thank you, councillors. Now we go on to reports of delegates. Item 8, item and that is the general meeting of the Association of Mining and Energy Related Councils held in September. There were Councillor Mackay, will you move that?
Happy to move that.
I will second it just formally.
Just as a check.
Councillor Derrick seconded.
Seconded December.
Apologies. Through me, I wasn't apology for this meeting. However, there is a proposal to, I'm not sure if all the other councils got it, for Resources and Energy Community Investment Fund, and this is a lot of the tension, I suppose, that seems to come up at these meetings is between the councils that are still predominantly based on mining, digging stuff up, and the fact that the state government doesn't provide any, has taken away a lot of the funding to those councils. So there is a proposal for a fund to help councils that are going through the renewable energy transition. And just to give you some examples, I mean, we have in Warren, I think we've got, and we're not in the renewable energy zone, but I think we've got 150 or something megawatts of solar panels. But if you look at a lot of these councils, so Dubbo, for instance, has probably 10 or 15 farms producing well over 3,000 megawatts. Muswellbrook has probably 3,000-4,000 megawatts, the same number of farms. So there's a lot of activity happening in this space throughout the councils, and there's really not a lot of support coming from government to those councils for that. So it's a proposal for its fund. I think there's not a lot of, hopefully there's a chance it'll get up. However, the actual function of the MERC, having sat in on a few of these meetings that we thankfully do by Zoom now rather than going to Sydney, they're quite tense meetings, and there seems to be a lot of tension between all of them.
Thank you, Councillor Mackay. Just before I say the date on that was wrong, it was the 2nd of December, and I apologise for that. In the MERC space, I think Councillor Mackay, myself, and General Manager are in the should we be there or should we not be there? and we haven't made a decision. It seems like a group of councils headbutting against a brick wall as far as this trust is concerned. Are you in the res space or are you out of the res space is highly debatable. I think I can't recommend anything to you councillors except we'll keep observed. No comment to that, Councillor McCann?
No, I think it is a good question that we probably do need to answer reasonably soon as to do we get value out of this? You know, we don't dig up anything in the council as such except for Horry, and we're not in the renewable energy zone either. So
No. So thank you. Any other councillors' comments or questions? If not, I'll put that. All those in favour, please no. Two of our delegates' report is the meeting of the Interagency Support Services held on the 16th of February. Councillor Derrick moving that, and second is Councillor Surdity. Councillor Derrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moving that the information be received and noted. And just thank you to Councillor Surdity for chairing that meeting. One thing that isn't reflected in the minutes is that we had some ongoing technical issues with the number of people that are attending via Teams. So we have decided for future meetings to try and use the conference room, which will hopefully overcome the problems that we're having with feedback for the people online. And given the small number of people that do attend in person, we think that should be the workaround that we need. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any other comments, questions? Anyone wish to speak? If not, I'll put that. Thank you, Councillor. Moving on now to reports, and the first one is probably getting through these. Guys, we've only got one here, a policy, our policy register, and this is item 1, review of council's expenses and facilities policy, which is all in front of you there. So to get discussions underway, I'm looking for a mover and a second. Please, Councillor Derrick, Councillor Surdity, Councillor Derrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was slightly confused trying to find what had been changed because there's no red in the policy, but I understand that the only change was just in relation to the 3.6%. So that figure, if the General Manager can confirm that was yeah. So it was just the only change was to make the figure to the 3.6.
Everybody understanding that? Councillors, is there any other comment or questions? No. Councillors, I'll put that. All those in favour? Yes, Councillor Surdity. Thank you, councillors. We're now moving on to reports of the General Manager. Item 1 is our checklist, outstanding reports checklist. In detail, looking for a mover, a seconder to get this underway, please. I have a mover, Councillor Wass, a seconder, Councillor Surdity, Councillor Wass. Just move the will be heard. General Manager, you can duck through that.
Just a real quick one, Mr. Mayor. So page 4 starts to be the first thing that's removed is really a matter tidied up late 2025 ARIC meeting. To then page 5 and 6 is Castlereagh Quarry matter and replacing Councillor Whiteley with Councillor Houston. Then December meeting matters concerning the alcohol prohibited area at Carter Oval. Our remuneration tribunal submission went off, and arrangements were made with Warramudgee Arts for their donation of their rate costs. Page 8 is just a general tidy up again relating to ARIC in relation to financial statements and audit reports. Same thing with the reporting. So they have knowledge of the September quarterly review that was undertaken. Again, page 9, a lot of ARIC matters tidied up and detailing the quarterly review adjustment type information of Mannix, which is now contained in the December quarterly review that's reported to this council meeting. Page 10, same thing again. Mannix at the bottom with quarterly review matters tidied up. It's been reported to this council meeting. It goes into page 11. Noting at the bottom of page 11, the 26-27 estimates are going to be considering an incorporation of a 3.6% increase in general rates. Just a little bit of tidy up on page 12. Then page 17 and 18 is tender matters that are now for traffic control that have been tidied up and contained within our contracts register. Deacon Drive Homes has also been removed with a further report in the Committee of the Whole close council to this meeting. This is on page 18. And that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, General Manager. Just to add it to our remuneration thing we've done on the 27th of March next month, General Manager and myself will be we've been invited to the tribunal face-to-face while we're in Sydney. So we'll speak to our remuneration that we put to them. Councillor Weiss.
Page 13, there was a meeting scheduled for yesterday with the contractor for the rocking on the rock wall. Did that take place?
Yeah, it was just confirmation of variation information, and we're probably looking earliest mid-April before they're back to finish the project. I'll say between the dentist and Lawson Hale Street. They've got their best crew that wants to come back, and they are in a project in far north Queensland that is also being washed away, and they're trying to work on. So mid-April, or even, and they still think that everything should be finished by the end of June.
Councillor, I was particularly asking about whether there was any financial implication in that meeting.
An operational contractual matter, Councillor Ross.
Any other questions?
But Mr. Mayor, everything is okay budget-wise. That's the important thing. Mayor? Councillor Ross, everything is, we believe, okay budget-wise.
within budget.
Yeah. Good. Thanks for that confirmation, General. No other questions, guys? Not formally. General Manager's report. All those in favour? Thank you, Councillor. Item 2 of the General Manager's report, committee and meetings, and as per tradition, in recognition Warren being a healthy town and keeping awareness of a healthy lifestyle, Council will be standing while dealing with item 2 of the General Manager's report. So I'm looking for a mover and a seconder, Councillor Derrett and Councillor Kelly. Councillor Derrett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nothing to add. Just moving the recommendation.
Any questions, councillors, on the list of meetings or adding? Nothing. Councillor Certainty.
Clarification on the ones that are future coming up, and I can't quite remember the date, but it's the library zone meeting, which is at Bathurst. Erica and I have decided we're going in as the teams rather than, but I can't quite remember the date.
Councillor Derrett.
I believe that is on schedule, 19th, 20th of March.
Yep, was that one of the teams?
We had it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Jackson.
Thank you, Mayor. I suppose I should mention that there is the Outback Arts AGM on the 30th of March.
30th of March.
That's been confirmed. Yeah.
Any other comments, General Manager? Anything? No. I think I'll put that as received and noted. All those in favour? Thank you, councillors. Item 3, the works project report, infrastructure projects. Looking on page 23 of the business paper. Looking for a mover and a seconder, please. Discussions. Councillor Mikulski. Councillor Jackson.
Just move the recommendation, Mr. Mayor.
General Manager, would you just like to lead us through that, please?
The main project, infrastructure projects, is in relation to the levy. It is a little bit disappointing that we're looking at a mid-April to early May contractor coming back, but the part of the discussion with the contractor in the last week or so has been the crew that did the work here. The work they've done so far, if you look at the 8 locations, has probably been the best rock revetment work we've ever seen because of the way they did the work, and well and truly, I think that work will stay there for a very long time because it's protecting that parts of the riverbank so well. There's been checks done, and we expect that mid-April to May time to be low river, same as what is at the moment, and as soon as they're finished up in far north Queensland, expect a whole heap of it. Also, infrastructure projects is helping with a lot of smaller projects in relation to health and development services. Lots of smaller projects that will start to come online, need to be finished until the 30th of June, and some follow up with helping our acting manager health and development services, who is out of Narromine Shire Council with some inspection work when he's not available. But we're aiming for a lot of inspection work happening by that officer from Narromine Shire Council. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Councillors, any other comments?
Just a question, please, Mr. Mayor, bring attention to the Christmas party for 2026. Do we have a plan in place, assuming that we may not get grant funding for a second time around? Does it look the same as this, General Manager, or we put a red line through it and can't do it?
No red line yet, Mr. Mayor. However, in the next week or so, we've actually timed that relevant staff are going to get together to see whether they can find and work on any grants to hopefully that it's not a red line, but there's a reasonable chance it still could be.
Right, and so the actual cost, through you, Mr. Mayor, sorry, was that $50,000? The actual cost of that? I see somewhere else in the paper I read the grant was 101 or something, maybe like that.
A number of years, yes.
No. The grant was 116,000 times 3, and we got 0.
Right.
And that the tidy up quarterly budget review is to actually remove the grant that we didn't get and put the money back that we actually put towards it, plus the donations.
Yeah, understood. Okay, so we have a plan. We're not just redlining it.
No. We've got a plan to attempt to see what we can get.
Thank you.
And I think that $40,993 that's spent on page 25. There's a few more little costs on top of that. Have a look at page 25 at the end of that report where it's getting grey. That's it's a little bit more than that 40,993, but not much more. But that's how much we spent. And in the end, the budget of 50,000 is not quite right either because we didn't get all the donations for the fireworks we were expecting. Fair and large amount of donations, but not quite.
My point of view, it's something that the whole community, including us and as an organisation and the whole community needs to think about. I think it's a great event. I think the move went off extremely well. I think as a community, we need to think hard about how we're going to do this in a sustainable ongoing.
Yep.
Benefit to the community. Any other questions or comments, guys? If not, I'll formally put that. All those in favour? Thank you, Councillor. Item 4 is proposed sale of land in Wilson Street, Warren, to the adjoining landholder who's just bought next door neighbours, next door property. Looking for a mover and a second to get discussions underway to this. Councillor Wass, Councillor Kinsey, Councillor Wass.
I'll move the matter be discussed.
General Manager, can you lead us through the start of this?
Okay. So this is approximately about half the land that the Rural Fire Service Warren Central Brigade was considering. It's about 800 square metres that he'd like to add to his 804 square metre block at 22 Wilson Street. A reasonable offer in dollars. The families will be paying for most costs except our own conveyancing costs. Making sure that it doesn't do any negative matters of the land that we may want to develop behind and beside the area. he wants to put a reasonably large garage and fence it the same as what Mrs. Hardman's old house has got, and up to the council if they feel are happy with allowing that to happen. He would have to move some of the drainage works. If our large trunk water main is affected, he has to put an easement on it.
So, councillors, you're aware this is the block on the creek side of Mrs. Hardman's property, property Mrs. Hardman owned. That would, if we do a subdivision behind there, the access street would be on the river side of Mrs. Hardman's house. Is everybody clear with that?
Yeah, can I just ask a couple of questions if you don't mind?
Yep.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So I got a little bit lost in the X's and squares and things like that. First question is, it's clear to me that the proposed purchase is for the green square there. Is that the shape of that lot?
Pretty close, yeah.
And so that other land where the corner of the bottom corner in that diagram, that's leased by someone else off council. I think it's the old police paddock or something there. And the corner of that green rectangle cuts through the fence that is already leased. Is that what?
There's two there. There's another lane. There's a laneway. What you don't see is
further out. That's not the levy.
No,
that's inside the levy. That's right.
Yeah, no, I believe not quite into the Fitzgerald lease.
Okay, so that easement that's there now is not an easement or a gazetted road?
No, it's just it's a portion of road over where the old levy a portion of land, I believe, where the old levy used to be before it was moved out. There used to be the levy, and now it's just a drain.
Right. So whose responsibility is it to change the fence on that Fitzgerald lease?
Him.
If they so desire.
Yes.
Otherwise, he can cut that corner off and leave that.
No, the fence has to be all changed.
Oh.
That's part of the recommendation. Fencing and drain.
Yeah.
Okay. Because underneath that is a drain that was, a
trunk water main. That's what you said.
That goes to the Ellen Gerard.
Look, there's a chance it's very, very close to the corner, Mr. Mayor. We are making sure that we actually know exactly. There is a chance it's about there. And that's why he has to make sure that there's an easement over.
So what confuses me here, Mr. Mayor, is that this shape of this block wasn't apparent when the RFS were talking about building their shed on there. They were going to keep it in the confines of a roughly triangular shape.
No, it's much larger. It was 1,600 square metres, and it was over here.
It was right out.
Okay. That's 800 square metres, and it was 600. It was 1,600 square metres.
Right.
They were moving the fence and the drain.
So, General Manager, the corner of that green block, does it actually extend over a pipeline?
That's what you said. There is a chance that they will have to put an easement on that trunk main.
Is there any issue with his development potentially covering that pipeline?
No, there'd be an easement over it which he can't access.
Can't put a building on.
Yeah.
It's the same as the easements for the levy in backyards around.
The line there that runs through the green corner, is that a drain, is it? Is it a
Yes.
drain?
It was the old levy Councillor Wassons. Now,
So is he going to need to provide drainage around the edge of his block?
Yeah, he has to move the drain and do earthworks and move the fence and tidy everything up. That's as per the recommendation.
So that drain is a useful piece of infrastructure.
a minor, Councillor.
Minor.
Minor.
Okay.
We certainly don't want it blocked, and he has to do the job properly, and he's fully aware.
And can I ask another question? The red block marked next is what is council land,
Yes?
and that would provide access from Wilson Street to the area behind those houses.
Yes.
That's correct, yes.
And the block marked 2, what is that?
That was another suggestion by him. That was another suggestion by him. Number 1 was green. Number 2 was the other suggestion, and that just number 2 just well and truly ruins everything that you'd want to do at the back of the place.
Okay.
Now I'll try to explain something else too, and that's why there's pluses and there's X's. That's why. And the reason why there's plus is because what we're talking about is cross intersections, which are the worst thing you can do road safety wise, that every Australian small town has had developed in the last 200 years. The best thing to do is you have T intersections where people stop, look, and are going through the intersection. And that's why over here in Chester Street, we don't ever really want to develop another cross intersection. We would actually, any further development would make sure, but very much like what we hope to do in the future with the intersection over the levee down here, Industrial Access Road, that it's actually 2 T intersections, which helps with road safety.
Yeah.
And in the end, we won't go through Chester. We'd probably move a little bit further on and have further into the I'll call it in the end a sealed Wilson Street a little bit further on. Don't want to. It may happen one day, sometime this century, Mr. Mayor.
Right, Kids, quickly, I'm on.
Just quickly, the southeast corner, why not just fence it off and not worry about the easement? Bottom corner facing the dirt, facing the floor. Why are we doing easements there? Just fence it off. Have it surveyed out.
You have to survey it out.
Okay? Well,
I understand.
You have to
It's
check
just
the
a
survey out.
block land. There are plenty of locations with easements of sewer and water.
I get that, but anyhow.
Any, guys, we can go through detail, but the principle, everybody,
It's a good one.
right, I'm going to formally put that, all those in favour. Thank you, councillors. Now, councillors, we're now going to adjourn the morning tea, and just stay where you are for a moment until Jill comes in. The rest of the staff are on. Councillors, continuing our meeting, item 5 of the reports from General Manager, disclosures of interest, councillors and designated persons. Looking for a mover and a second for that, Councillor Wass, Councillor McCloskey, Councillor Wass.
I move the recommendation.
Any questions, General Manager? Do you need to comment on this?
Thank you.
Everybody understand what they're looking at, guys? Taking that as a yes. I don't think there needs to be any discussion. I'll formally put that. All councillors are happy. Thank you very much. We now move on to reports of the Divisional Manager, Finance and Administration, which we preambled slightly changed now. So, item 1, the reconciliation certificate of January 26th. You get it there in your business paper. Looking for a mover and a seconder of that. Received and noted, please. Councillor Kinsey and Councillor Surdity. Thank you, Councillor Kinsey.
Moving recommendation, Mr. Mayor.
Any questions, comments, or Divisional Manager, do you wish to comment in any way? Fairly. No comments, so I'll put that. All those who have received and noted, please. Thank you, councillors. Carried. The item 2 is the statement of rates and annual charges are there. The states and the motion is that the statement be received and noted. Looking for a mover and a seconder of that, please. Councillor Brewer, Councillor Surdity. Councillor Brewer.
Move the recommendation. Thank you.
Questions, comments, questions to Divisional Manager? Nothing. In that case, councillors, I'll put that. All those in favour? Thank you, councillors. Carried. The third item is our work progress report on administration of councillors. The motion is to be received and noted. Basically, it's there in front of you. Councillor Surdity, Councillor Brewer, Councillor Surdity.
No, I should say it's on there.
Questions, comments? In that case, I'll put that. All those in favour? Thank you, councillors. Item 4, our quarterly budget review. This is our new format. Looking for a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Kinsey and Councillor Surdity. Councillor Kinsey.
Mr. Mayor, that reduction in bushfire hazard control is a bit concerning. Yeah, together we've got 3, 4, 4, 8, 2, 5. Am I reading that as a reduction that we're getting to do it?
This is for the slashing of the size of the roads, and I'll refer to the General Manager.
So it's the second year in a row that we've, instead of around 360,000, we've got about $2,000. And that's because the roadside hazard reduction program is not contained within the bushfire hazard reduction plan. We're hoping that it is in the new one, and we can go back to getting a chance of some funding. We're having to do out of sealed maintenance, and that's why, if you look in the next report, sealed maintenance is under a bit of pressure. And in fact, I think the next quarterly review, the movement unsealed to sealed, because these guys need to keep going, tar patching, and this is for the next quarterly review. At least $250,000 you're probably wanting, is that correct? Meaning, because all the flood damage is happening on our unsealed network, a reasonable amount of unsealed road work, unsealed won't be as heavily spent. And so we're probably going to use it for the sealed M&R, keep tar patching as well.
But as far as the reduction plan, just wait, it's the space. I don't know where it is. Any other Councillor McKay.
Through you, Mayor. Just so I'm clear, so these reductions or additions are not to the budget but to the actual expenditure, is that?
So, through you, Mr. Mayor, they are budget changes, so they can be where it's in relation to a change in actual figures that have occurred, i.e. we received more income than we budgeted for. Grant comes in, or there's changes in expenditure, so it kind of does follow the actual.
Yeah, but I'm assuming you're not changing the actual budget, you're changing the actuals against the budget.
Budgets
In
get
effect,
changed.
yes.
No, the budgets get changed. It's the $360,000 budget of income for bushfire hazard reduction has gone down to 15,000, and the work has gone down from 360 to 15,000 because we can't spend any more than the grant that we've received. 15,000.
Understand.
As an example.
But you talk there's a $360,000 budgeted revenue from bushfires, bushfire hazard. That's for the budget for the financial year we're in now. So you're saying that the practice is that we go and because normally you would just say, well, that's the budget, here's the revised budget, here's the revised, So you're talking about the revised budget here?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Thank you.
Suggestion, Councillor, while you're away, we had an hour or two. It is a little bit complicated, but once you get into it, but I'm sure if you've got an hour spare or a little bit of time spare, you can bring yourself up to speed with Brad. It is a big change in the way forced to do things. And two, the Minister of the Local Government Secretary to make it more open to us as councillors and the public as whole. Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor, I will comment. It's very fortunate the report still tries to tell a very similar story as previously, and not the big forms. Because exactly what you're talking about on page 9 helps you what really the true changes are to date. To the best of our ability, plus also typical council reports that change the budget, typical Mannix recommendations that head towards the quarterly review as well.
So I think overall, Councillor McKay, the changes are there with the format, and what I've tried to do with the report is to, when you see it in the now revised budget statement, there's materials and services and a figure, councillors may not be aware fully of what that is. So I can talk in a report and say there's $500,000 change, and so it's whatever. You've got to take me at my word. So I've gone out into more detail to show exactly what calculates up to that and the reasons for it, and then put information on relevance of the impact of those changes so that council can make an informed decision. So into the future, as the Mayor mentioned, the quarterly budget review statement changes as a mandatory occasion. That's the Office of Local Government's view of what will basically allow the community and the councillors, more importantly, to have a consistent and accurate view across the sector, moreover. So everybody's doing the same thing. There's no if, but, or otherwise. So I've just tried to, again, have those adjustments, changes, information relate back to those and give an idea of what impact they may have.
Yeah, through you, Mayor. No, look, I think the format's really good. I think it's a good format, and at least you've explained it really well. So, yeah, compliments.
The reason behind this, Councillor, was that in recent past history and some other councils have probably not hidden things, but things haven't been apparent to councillors because of the amount of detail. and councils have got themselves into financial difficulty because their financial expertise of what they're reading is not quite there. Any other comments or questions? Not, I'll put that all in favour. Thank you, councillors. Reports, General Divisional Manager, Engineering Services, Work Progress Roads, item 1. A mover, a seconder for that, please. Councillor Kinsey, Councillor McCloskey, Councillor Kinsey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to say that the roads on the southern end of our shire are absolutely brilliant. Not very often we get to say that, but they truly are. It's a credit to our staff, and as far as I'm concerned, things aren't too bad.
Thanks for that, councillor. I've been threatening to take a general manager and engineer for a drive in the neighbouring council. I'll get her in.
They probably won't stay there.
Any other comments, questions? Divisional manager, you have any comment? This fairly comprehensive report, guys. Any questions to Sylvester? Not. Councillor Voss, sorry.
Just on all those completed on those 3 pages, we've actually got on all the completed works, we've actually got a deficit of under $17,000 on the budget. Not bad.
Not bad. Any other comments? Councillor McCloskey is grinning. I'm wondering why.
Happy.
So, Mr. Mayor, we're still working on trying to get over $1 million added AGRN 1034 for Gradually Lane Causeways. We're still working on that. There's $27,000 in this budget for that instead of 1.03. We're still working on trying to get approval because we won't be doing very much for $27,000 on 4 destroyed causeways.
It's moved as well as the applications which it's moved into the political space that I spent some time yesterday actively lobbying about that, whether it goes anywhere. And I'll continue doing that in the political space, as I'm sure a divisional manager will do in the application space. Can I just quietly say that in the reconstruction and especially seeing some of the flood events in the mid-north coast and stuff, it is a topical thing in the political space at the moment. There's certain mid-north coast councils that are out 20 million bucks. And I'm sure the state treasurer is getting annoyed by a lot of people. Councillor?
It's true, but just in light of that, councils becoming banks for the state government in respect of holding money back and not paying. The President of the Shires Association was on the radio when I went to Ballina on the weekend and give a big spiel on that.
Yeah.
About how councils have been basically held to ransom and no forward payment or whatever, and going into being for the state to get the work done, and financially putting themselves in an untenable position.
But it's a topical subject.
It's on almost every grant. Look at the previous reports of divisional manager. Normally we've got in between 14 and $17 million. We haven't got that.
And to be non-party political, the state is saying that the feds are doing the same thing to them. Especially in this reconstruction and emergency service space because the formula is states, the feds pick up one percentage, states pick up the other percentage, but they're virtually unbudgeted items because you're not aware. The only other information that I've got is that the system in the state of Queensland seems to be a lot better than the system here we've got in New South Wales.
You made note of that.
And that's the space we're talking in Country Mayors and LG New South Wales. If there's no other input, I'll put that. All those in favour? Thank you. We're working on the town services work progress report to get that discussion underway. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Surdity, Councillor Kelly. Councillor Surdity.
Just to get the discussion underway.
Questions, comments, questions to Sylvester? Councillor King.
I probably don't mean much, but I'm just curious on the bottom of 25, when you got additional pickup water on wet days around Warren, what's that about?
Sorry?
Bottom of 25.
The street sweeper can pick up local water.
Oh, yes, I didn't know that.
I presume that's what. So we've got a dignified nod from divisional engineers.
Well, thank you, Sylvester.
Councillor Mackay.
Through you, Mayor, just the smoke testing data, did we get to the bottom of that?
Mayor, we have sent the data that we had back to Slum Trucks, that's the contractor. So he's analyzing against what he has. We come back to that. Electronic records.
Questions, comments? If not, I'll put that all in favour. Thank you. Works progress plan. In some detail there in your business paper. Looking for a mover and seconder, please. Councillor Kins, Councillor McCloskey.
They're not much the same as the mayor, just over for a bit.
Nothing coming out, guys, that need to jump out to. Major plant issue with the excavator at the disposal plant. That is ongoing investigations there. Nothing else. Everything else is minor and normal. Councillor McCloskey.
Okay, through you. I just made note, I think I read it last week. We have an issue with the tyres on the backhoe at the tip where we continually getting punches with it, are we? Out there.
I imagine within reason they're attempting to do a little bit of excavator work with old plant 14.
Yeah.
We're hopefully within a month we're going to get an excavator back, but there's a chance they probably might still put some hard front tyres on.
On the back.
On the backhoe, yeah.
It is.
It's actually
listed
steel
here.
pile.
Yeah, it was listed in the last report, the last one too, I think, about tyres at the tip.
Make it worse, our contractors have been letting us down lately due to unavailability, so it's not helping.
No other comments? I'll close this. No,
Sorry, too early, sorry.
I'll put that finally, received noted all councillors for and against all. Thank you. Right, We're moving on to reports from our manager, Health and Development Services. The item 1 is the development approvals. Looking at mover and seconder for this, there's two there just for information. Received and noted. Councillor Surdity, Councillor Jackson. Councillor Surdity.
Just as you said, for
Obviously, our Deputy Mayor Pine mentioned that she left the room. Have we got any comments or questions? Re those two? If we haven't, I'll put that. All those in favour? Aye. Thank you. Just we'll hold a second till Deputy Mayor can come back in, please. While we're getting, while she's coming back in, I'm looking for a move in a second for item 2, which is the work progress report for the Health and Development Services. Just a move in a second for that. Councillor Brewer. Councillor Kinsey. Councillor Brewer.
Mr Mayor, I'm just moving the recommendation and proposing that we seek the information that's in the closed council section on this matter.
Thank you, Councillor. Is there anyone else that wants to comment on the reports there? Obviously, there's a couple blacked out. The road repairs to the tip were done. I'm sure Councillor Brewer's very happy about that. The Aboriginal NAIDOC Day, the Christmas party event are all blacked out. And the gym equipment renewal contract being done. Any other hands up? Councillor Kinsey for a start.
Drum muster on page 6, the top of the page.
Still under investigation, Councillor Kinsey, but I am aware that you have some ideas of that.
Yeah, I've made some inquiries to individuals who are involved in it. On their business sites, and they would be glad if we took it on because it's a non-event for them. It's virtually a pain. So I really don't understand if there's no financial gain for us to do it, why we're even contemplating it, especially when somebody else in their town's doing it and we don't have to worry about it.
Point taken, and the investigation's still underway, Councillor. And your comments will be taken into the investigation.
Can you guys expand a little bit more, Councillor Kinsey? So nutrient.
Yeah.
And so what have they said to you?
They've said to me they get about 20 cents a drum, but they don't actually get the money themselves. What happens to the funds is that they can nominate a charity of their liking, which will necessarily come to this area, not come to the Warren area. That's basically what happens. As far as them putting money back into their business for doing it, no.
They are happy to do it.
They're not happy to do it. They're doing it because it's community service.
Yeah.
If they don't do it, who will?
So your point is, it's not costing us. It wouldn't be costing them.
My point is, if we do it, we will be doing a community service, but we're not going to get anything for it, especially when somebody else can do it.
Right. Councillor Brewer.
I have some experience in this matter, and Councillor Kinsey's correct on most of that, except the fact that when a commercial or other entity takes it on, you get a reduced per drum rate of something like 10 or 12 cents over 18 to 20 cents. What we have to find out, and my understanding of the situation is we would have to fund the slab to have the drums sit on. That's what's holding us up at the moment is securing funding for the slab out the Yulmar Waste Depot. it would work out there, is my initial understanding, because it's open 7 days. But it has to be manned and it has to be accredited to take those. Someone has to sign for the drums have to be inspected and things like that. It's whether or not 10 cents a drum gives us the resource that we need to do that, and that's what's dubious about this whole thing.
I think
So further investigation is going on.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is a matter for the committee.
Yep.
But I am concerned about the risk profile of doing this. They're not the easiest things to clean and sign off on, and it would take some inspections of each one. But I think this should be debated at the committee level. Yeah, happy with that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other comments or Councillor Jackson? Sorry, I missed you.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to inquire regarding the 2 grants from the Rugby League and the Union. The grant by League was submitted in July 2025, still awaiting an outcome, or just not updated because they've asked for gas, hot water, something to do with the log seating. And so has Rugby now in their very recent application, wanting gas, hot water, oval log restoration. There's some overlap there. So is it true that, do we know that the one submitted by Warren and District Rugby League is not going to go ahead, or is it simply, they're overlapping sort of components to the grants? That's all.
They're overlapping. I'm not aware of the rugby one, but the rugby union one is they closed last Friday.
Overlapping, most of them overlapping.
Through Mr. Mayor, are we saying that Rugby League grant is still awaiting? It hasn't been finalised, or it has been, it's been declined, and no, they haven't told
We're not
us.
aware of any declining yet.
So they're both in. They're both from 2 different. One is from the Rugby Union one is from the World Cup Residual Fund. The Rugby League one, I don't know what the grant was.
So, Officer Responsible Gambling, Community Sport.
To the best of my knowledge, we haven't heard anything. That's why it's still saying pending.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And that's why the newer one, which was the World Cup Fund, we applied for the same bloody things. Same things.
I need.
Almost. But the fix the power problem, we've got to go gas. So the long-term philosophy of that is, so we've got a power supply to later on apply for a grant for air conditioning for the building. At the moment, if we applied for air conditioning for the building, we can't. We haven't got enough power.
May I just ask one more question on the second grant just recently went through? There's ice baths included in those. Will those ice baths be able to be used by various athletes who are, or is that only for the rugby and they?
Everything.
Okay, so all the athletes that use the facility.
The philosophy of all the grants, whether it be racecourse, showground or sporting community, the grants are made by individual companies but it's for the whole community. Any other questions? If not, I'll put that. All those in favour, councillors? Thank you so much. We now. Sorry, we haven't got any notice of motion or question with notice. No, we haven't got a matters of urgency. Excuse me, I'm drink. And we have some confidential matters. So I am now asking for a mover and a seconder for the council to move into committee of the whole. we need to move into committee of whole closed council, consider the matters listed on the manager health report. We need a resolution made to do that. So if I could get Councillor Kinsey, Councillor Certainty, we need a resolution to exclude anyone else from here, press, etc. Can I get that? Councillor Watts, Councillor Kinsey. In that case, I will cease the recording. The motions that was put in closed council. General Manager, could you...
Mayor, in the matter concerning the Deacon Drive house dwellings, the district court matter, it was moved, Councillor Wass, seconded Councillor McCloskey, that the information received and noted. It be noted too that it be noted the council has received a settlement of $950,000 from the parties involved in the district court Deacon Drive houses contract dispute, and therefore this matter is now resolved. And 3, further reporting be presented to council on how to rectify the houses.
Councillors, can I put that formally, please? All those in favour? Thank you. Ross and McCloskey moved it. There's no further business. Councillors, I'll close and thank everybody for their attendance and their work during the last month. Thank you.